Good morning. It's great to have you here. This is actually one of my favorite events every year, is your alumni gathering. So it is an honor and a privilege to be here. And I want to thank, first of all, you for what you're doing every day across the nation, across the country, in cities and towns in America. What you're doing is really important, and I'll talk about that in a minute. And as you think about the new ideas, I'm going to ask you I will let you know what we're doing and ask you for your input over time. Before I do all that, I want to thank the CHDS staff and Glenn Woodbury for his leadership. This course continues to be the pacer for the rest of the country in this kind of training and education and exchange and leadership networking. It is clearly still the standard. And that is due to Glenn and Heather and their entire staff. Is also due to you, because with your alumni coming back and the networking that you have, that stands out. So it's not only the leaders, it's also the behavior of you as leaders when you are interacting with each other. So this is a great program, but Glenn, thanks to you and your team for your constant leadership in the entire country. Thank you. Okay, so what do we have in front of us? You all are living with an intimacy of leadership to your customer base like no other. I would say that you have an intimacy about it more than even the military, because everybody you touch in your localities and in your areas they are your neighbors. They are the folks who are paying local taxes. They're the folks who you see in churches and synagogues. They're the folks you see down the street and in the Safeways. These are the folks that are the intimate clients that you have. And it is extraordinarily effective. There's a whole new set of literature about the importance of towns, cities, and localities. Because as the dysfunction in our nation's capital continues to fester along, what is happening is that there are people who are giving faith to their local administrators and leaders. And so your intimacy to your leadership impact and your mission is extraordinary. And I think that brings home the importance of something that is a phenomenon that we all know. That is the speed of decision-making and the impact of that speed upon everything that we're doing. It's what I call the physics of decision-making, of speed, density, and very complex. The density, complexity, speed, pace, all those things for how we're making the decisions in front of us, operational, administrative, or otherwise, in policy, that really has an impact. So how you make that decision making is extraordinary. So we call it, we are calling it in the military and in corporate, in industry, it's called decision advantage. So if you are advantaged by the stuff that you have in front of you to make faster, better kinds of choices, that's really important. What's really complex, though, in that complexity is there's so much coming at you. How do you understand it better so that it really has some sustainable kinds of impact? That ability to know what's in front of you and what it really says to you is about analytical understanding, discernment, and judgment. And that's about leadership. So if we think about this, and we're working this really hard, is AI is fine. AI is going to be a lot in front of us for AI. But AI still does not give you the judgment, discernment, and analytical understanding, not the analytical output, but the understanding to make those complex and integrated choices best for where you are. That's why this kind of, I think that the notion of new ideas is really important, and it has impact. It has impact because of the numbers of people who are CHDS alumni who across the country and frankly around the globe can have an impact, but understanding the integration, that need for discernment, while at the same time being effective in your particular region or part of the globe. Because not everything that happens in Indiana is going to be what happens in Texas, is going to be what happens in Guam. So you need we all need to be able to understand that. That's what this is about a bit. The quality of the conversation is really important. So when I'm asked what changes culture here at NPS, are a number of things. But the primary one I point to, and everybody has a head scratch when I say it, is it is about leaders, but leaders set tone, and leaders set culture, and leaders set the kind of tone of a conversation within that culture. So a conversation of inquiry, a conversation that says let's quickly know what we're doing, so that means competence, and then let's quickly be able to get to the right answer. That means trust and confidence. You live this, and so we have the pleasure of being able to, and the honor of being able to talk about that here, and hopefully give you some imparting of what we are beginning to understand as well. So last week we had a graduation of one of the leadership classes, and I made my comment there. One of the graduates, a very accomplished law enforcement leader, said, "You know, when I got a chance to go to this course, I didn't think I wanted to go. What in the world could CHDS do for me?" And he said, I realized very quickly it was all about leadership and about the decision making that leaders have to make. He said, it's the best course I've ever been to for that kind of insight. So that's what I said, yeah, I've heard that in the past. So give us your decision-making problems. Help us to understand where you are. We'll be happy to transmit, but that's not the actual satisfying and gratifying experience here. It's letting us know what is bothering you, what is confounding you, what is frustrating you, so that we can then work that and understand it and help you, because that is our job, is to be able to support all of you. And that is the extraordinary opportunity to do that. And the people that you touch that you don't even know about. So let me tell you a very quick story. I was a senior in college, and I was working at the college at the campus. Now, yes, I'll tell you the year that was. It was 1972. I was coming in to my senior year, so I was going from junior to senior. So it was the summer of '72. I went to college up off of the Finger Lakes of New York, and there was a massive rains day after day and flooding. And so I was there working for the dean of students, and we were asked to be a local refugee site. So we don't have much staff there in sometimes small liberal arts college, you know. And so they tell me, you're in charge of all the dorms. Now I am 21 years old, and I have no idea what I'm doing. Okay, and the administration was wanting to be helpful, but they needed somebody on the spot. So I did what I thought about, and I called the local police department, called the local sheriff, and tried to find out what I needed to do, told the administration what we needed to do, because we really were short-handed. And at 21, I learned about emergency response. I say that to you because there are people all around your areas who are doing the same thing in some way. All of a sudden, they're thrown into all this. What's great about Western democracies is that we empower our citizens to act, to decide, to make a difference, because each person matters. So part of our obligation to you is to help you to teach and transfer that trust and that empowerment to every citizen in America, because they all touch their own cultures, their own subcultures, their own families, their own friends, their own neighborhoods, and that is the magic of America. So I would tell you that this is our privilege to be able to do this, and we're trying to do some things with innovation as well. So at the end of the day, Heather and I have an agreement that she's going to send you all soft copies of what I have put out as my annual priorities for 2023, what I have put out for some innovation guidance, what I have put out for different kinds of ways to look at innovation overall. And you'll get those in soft copies. Happy to share them with you. Innovation is now the catchword of the day. It's kind of now this word everybody talks about, right? And so you hear about it, and innovation is a Rorschach for what you want it to be. You know, I can innovate in my office, I can innovate in my town, you know, and all of that. So innovation becomes something that means nothing unless it means something to people who are thinking differently and new, right? About new ways to solve problems, about new ways to create solutions, about new ways to coordinate, collaborate, about new ways to look at the diversity in front of us of all kinds, and to be able to come up with answers that are better for our towns, our cities, our states, our counties, and our nation. So innovation, to innovate, is to create, but not just to create, but then to apply that creation to something that is purposeful. You can have bad innovation, by the way, right? So what is the good and effective innovation that works to the betterment of our people and our citizens and our families? And innovating, and again, this is what we're good at. We are, as a country, the noise level is extraordinary. It's extraordinary. And leaders have to take that noise level and pull the thread that makes sense for building solutions and building communities and building effects and mission. And the noise level is another leadership issue, and I would tell you the innovation thread needs to be drawn without telling people they have no voice. So this is skill and art of leadership, and it is yours. This is yours and mine, ours. Everybody has that responsibility. So when you go back to your places that pay you, that trust you, that have confidence in you, what did you find out this week you didn't know, and that you could apply and make your areas and our country better and stronger for the 21st century in this age of innovation, of new ideas? I thank you for letting me come here. This is a privilege and an honor. I truly mean that. And I'm available the entire time that you're here because you are us. Thank you very much, Glenn. Thank you.